Hey everyone, and welcome to Hooked on Needles and Crafts. Today we're going to be doing another itty bitty knit kit that I got from Five Below. For my returning subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in. And for my new viewers, please consider subscribing, share, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and click on that notification bell for future videos. So today, you guys, we have another itty bitty knit kit. I've been plowing through these kits one by one. Thank you so much for your patience and me getting these done for you. So let's see what we have here. We have small fry, and I'm not gonna lie, this does look intimidating, so 100% understand what you're talking about there. This is a viewer request, so if you have any requests, leave a comment below. If you don't want to wait for me to find the kit, you can always send me the instructions via email. My info is on my channel. I do have a list of requests, and I do have some requests that I haven't found the kits yet for, so always a good thing to consider if you cannot wait for me to find it. Alright, so in this kit it comes with stuffing, the knitting needles, plastic needle, a felt face with a sign, and then 2 spools of yarn. So let's open up this box. And the last kit that we did not have enough of the material, so hopefully this one's not bad, but it looks like a lot, so we'll see. Okay. Here are the spools of yarn. Here's the instructional booklet. This video is goes in conjunction with the instructions. I don't go through everything. I just show you how to start it off. All these kits use 1 stitch, and that's the knit stitch. So once you get that down pat, you should be able to do all of these kits. There are a set of written and illustrative instructions if you want to use those. I'm just going to do it my way. It also comes with its own ruler, so you don't have to go get any. And yeah, so let's open up this packet. This packet typically has the stuffing. Right here we have our knitting needles, our cute little felt piece here that we're going to sew on with the plastic needle. Alright, so I don't want my stuffing to get dirty, so we're just going to put this in here along with the needle and the felt piece. Alright, and then we're going to go straight into the instructions. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you new stitches at least 3 times, step by step. If you need to speed up or slow down the video, click on the gear button in the corner. There's options to go fast or slow. If you don't want to hear me, you can lower the volume on your device and click on the CC close caption button. Alright, so let's start with these instructions. So we are going to be making a lot of rectangles. Looks like we're going to be making 6 altogether, and first we're going to work with the yellow. So what I like to do with these spools of yarn is to find the inside. If you pull the outside, you'll have to remove the band and it'll start rolling around. If you pull from the inside, it'll stay all intact and it won't roll around. So sometimes you get lucky and you find the end real quick. Sometimes you pull out a chunk, but that's okay because we'll end up using it. But so by the time we get to this point, it's just a pull, as you see right there. But for now, I am working with the chunk. So my tip is to try to pinch a small piece. Sometimes this huge clump will come with it, and that can't be helped, but it's definitely worth doing so that you don't have to worry about your spool rolling around. Especially when you have pets, they tend to love rolling around spools of yarn. Okay, so from here, wow. So we have to do, I just find this a waste. All right, so we have to have a tail. So we're gonna measure out the tail. And this is probably to sew everything together, so it makes sense, but that's a lot of tail there. So I'm just gonna measure out the tail. Okay, and we're keeping it pinched where that length is. And I'm gonna put the tail down out of the screen here, and I'm making it go down. The feeder yarn stays up, so you can keep them separate and you won't mix them up. I'm gonna switch my pinch to the other hand. I'm a lefty. If you're already pinching here, that's fine. We are doing this in righty today. So, yeah, I'm just gonna switch my hands again to pinch on the left because we do have to cast onto our needles. So what you're gonna do is pinch with your thumb and index finger, and then we're gonna hold on this tightly. Now your middle finger and ring finger are gonna hold the yarn apart like this, and you can keep this somewhat loose. So now we're gonna take 2 fingers of our right hand here. We're gonna come up, we're gonna turn it down to this loop here. So you see we have a loop. Then I'm gonna take my index and middle finger. I'm gonna hold the feeder yarn and pull it through that loop. So now we have a huge knot. So from here, I'm just gonna pull the loop out to make that knot smaller and close to your thumb here, and keep pulling till you can't pull anymore. You want to hold on to this grip because then it keeps the length of your tail. So once you hit a point where you can't push the knot any tighter, then you can take your thumb and an index finger and just pull that knot a little bit more to make it a little snug. You don't have to pull it too tight. I'm going to grab the knot here. All right, your tail is down, your feeder yarn is up. We're going to pull on the feeder yarn slowly and make this loop more manageable. We want to be able to slip a needle through it. Okay, so once we're there, we can slip our needle on it. You can tighten it up a little bit more by pulling on the feeder yarn. And we've casted on our loop onto our knitting needle. And I don't know why my voice is crack-a-lacking all over the place. Hold on. Okay, so now I'm going to show you 2 ways to get stitches onto your needle. The first way I think is a little easier, but it does make a little bit more of a mess, and not a mess, but it wastes a little bit more yarn. And then the way that I normally do it could be a little difficult, but you'll have to learn how to do that anyway when you do the rest of the rows. So, you might as well start now. But let's do it the easier way. So we have to cast on some stitches, and the number of stitches are indicated in your instructional book. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take the feeder yarn here. I'm taking 2 fingers. I'm going to make a loop by again turning down like we did before to where we have this loop right here. And then I'm just going to throw that onto the needle and tighten up the loop by pulling on the feeder yarn. And that's it. We just added a second stitch on here. All right. So again, take the feeder yarn with your 2 fingers here. We're going to turn it down, make a loop, and you're going to throw it up on your needle and then pull the feeder yarn. And now we have 3 stitches on here. Again, take your 2 fingers, turn down the yarn to make a loop, and then throw it up on your needle, and then pull the feeder yarn tight. So you just continue doing that until you reach the number of stitches you need. I'm just going to quickly throw up some stitches here because I want to show you why I don't really like doing it this way, although this way is fine. And I'll show you how to do this next part real quick. I just want to show you why I don't like to do it that way. But anyway, so we're gonna just make pretend I showed you how to do the next steps, and we're gonna do the next row. So when you see yourself doing this method and then starting the next row, you're gonna find there's a huge gap between your needles. This piece right here, that's just a lot. That's more than you need to waste. And when you keep doing your stitches, it doesn't really get smaller. It just, you know, pulls a little bigger until you get to the end. So as I'm doing this, you can see it's kind of getting that double in size every time. The thing with this is, as you're doing the row, it's getting the right lengths on this side, on your right needle. So as I do this last one, we have this huge loop here. It will eventually even out or not. You'll have this weird looking gap here. See, as you can see, it's not that big of a deal, but for me, it's, I notice, so it just bothers me. So I don't like to do it this way. So you can choose to do it the easier way, and that's fine. It's, like I said, you can't really notice it that much, but now I'm going to show you how I would do it the technical way using 2 needles. Alright, so what you're going to do is, like I said, these kits thankfully only use 1 stitch, and that's the knit stitch. And this is how you're going to start your knit stitch every time. So once you learn how to cast on your stitches, you're going to know how to do the next row. Okay, so stick your hook into the loop. So now you have 2 needles. In a knitting position, you want to X your needles like this. And this is for righty. If you are doing a knit stitch, you want your left needle on top, your right needle on the bottom. And we still have our tail end down and our feeder yarn up. I have it wound up on my finger. Alright, so now what we're going to do is, when you do a knit stitch and you want to feed your yarn, it's always going to be counterclockwise back to front. So if you're up here in front of here, that's not right, you know. You always want to keep it in the back for a knit stitch. There are other stitches that will have you have the yarn in the front, but this is not the case today. So we're going to go back to forward around the right needle, and we're going to pull it down. You're going to hear a snap because your 2 needles that are crossing, they're touching. So it's going to squeeze its way in there. And I don't know if you heard that, but you can either feel the snap or hear the snap. You want to keep your needles always touching. See, there's no gaps. All right, this is going to keep you from losing any stitches. Alright, so from this point now, we're going to slide the left needle over the right needle and back. And this point is going to force that feeder yarn through this loop. So let me try doing it close so you can see. We're going to drag the left needle over the right needle slowly. You're going to see the point. It's pushing that feeder yarn through the loop like that. So now we have our new loop on this side. So since we're casting on stitches, we need to slip this loop onto the left loop. And you can do that by sticking your left needle through that loop and remove it off the right needle. And you can pull your feeder yarn to make the loop a little tighter if it's too loose. So now we have 2 stitches on our left needle. So let's do this 2 more times with you guys. Stick your needle into the next loop here. You want to start in your knit position, which is an X. Left needle on top of the right needle. Okay, we're going to have your yarn in the back here. We're going to go counterclockwise back to front around the right needle, and we're going to snap it down. Okay, keep your needles touching. We're going to slide this needle over and back of the right needle like that. It automatically pushes that feeder yarn through the loop. So now you have a new loop on your right needle. We want to pick it up with the left and then remove it off the right. So now we have 3 stitches on our needle. All right, one more time with you guys. Stick your needle into the loop. Okay. Go into knit position with an X. Left needle on top, right needle on the bottom, feeder yarn in the back. We're going to go counterclockwise back to front around the right needle and then snap down. Okay. Then we're going to slide the left needle over the right and back, always touching. It's going to push the feeder yarn through that loop. And now we have our new loop on our right needle. We're going to throw it up onto the left needle by sticking your left needle through that loop and lifting it off the right needle. So now we have 4 stitches. Alright, so if you need to rewind and do that throughout the rest of the stitches you need on your needle, go ahead and do that. But I'm just going to continue and throw on the rest of the stitches, and then as we do the next row, I'm going to show you that it doesn't have those gaps that we saw before. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys how to do the next row, and it's going to be the same throughout. Each rectangle has a distance length that you have to meet. They also give you an approximate row count, but you want to make sure that whatever you do, you want to make sure that the rectangle measures the length that it says, because not everyone's stitches are going to be the same. So, and that's for any instructions, crochet or knitting. So they want you to meet the measured length rather than the number of rows that they're calling out for. So to do the next row here, we're going to go to the top loop and you're going to stick your needle in there, and we're going to get into our knit position. All right. Then we're going to knit a stitch. So again, it's just back to front around the right needle and down. And then we're going to slide the left over the right and back, pushing this new loop through like we've been doing. But in this case, since we're doing the next row, we just want to remove the loop that we used off the left needle, because when you do a next row, you want to keep the same number of stitches from the left needle onto the right needle. So we just created a stitch, So we have to lose a stitch, which is why I removed that loop off the left needle. So let's do this again. Stick your hook into the next stitch, get into your knit position. We're going to back to forward around the right needle and down. We're going to slide the left needle over and back on the right needle, forcing the point to push the feeder yarn through. So now we have a new loop here. We're going to remove this loop off of our left needle. So we're just exchanging stitches. Whatever is on this side, you move onto this side. So, and if you noticed, there's no gaps. And that's what I like to see. Unlike before, we had that huge distance. Okay. One more time with you guys. So, stick your needle into the next stitch. Get into your knit position. We're going to go back to forward around the right needle and down. Then we're going to slide the left over and back on the right needle, pushing the feeder yarn through that loop. And then we're going to remove this loop off the left needle. So now we have 3 stitches here and 3 less stitches here. Okay, so now that I've shown you how to cast on the needles onto the left needle, and then I'm showing you how to do the next row on the right needle, we're just going to continue going back and forth. Not really, I'll show you when we get down the row. Yeah, but I'm just going to continue the rest of the stitches. You can pause it here, rewind, go back to the last 3 stitches if you just need a little bit more assistance. Okay, as you noticed, all the stitches on the left needle are gone, and they're all on the right needle now. So, what we have to do the next row is just flip it, like that. So we're here, we're knitting, we're done, just flip your project this way. And you want to make sure this time you keep your feeder yarn down, because when you keep it down, it keeps the stitch. If you pull it up, it creates 2 stitches, and you don't want that. I've done that in the past when I was starting out. So make sure you just keep your feeder yarn down and back, and then we just swap needles. So now we're back to square one. And then you can go back and do your regular knitting for the next row. So I'm just gonna go down the line here, and then I'll show you the flip one more time. Okay. Wow, that was a very loose one. All right, so we're here. We're gonna flip it. Keep your feeder yarn down and back, and we can start on our next row. So I'm gonna do the rest in silence, and on top of that, I'll do the rest in silence. I'll come back in when I've reached the length to show you how to cast off. Alright, so I actually did more rows really than the number that they had said, but I've got my rectangle to the size that they wanted it, and I'm going to show you guys how to cast off. So to cast off, we're going to knit 2 stitches. Okay. Then with these 2 stitches, we're going to take that first stitch and we're going to stick the left needle in there. We're going to leapfrog it over the second stitch and off the right needle and off the left needle, like that. So now you only have that second loop on there. You always want to have 2 stitches to cast off, so we're going to knit 1 more so that we have 2 stitches on here again. You're going to stick your needle into the loop right here, and we're going to leapfrog it again over the next needle, next stitch, and off the right needle, off the left needle. Right, then you're left with 1 stitch again. So we're going to knit stitch 1 more. Okay, so then you're going to have 2 stitches on here. Stick your needle into this one right here. We're going to leapfrog it over the next stitch, off the right needle and off the left needle. So if you want to rewind this back, slow it down or pause it, do so now, but I'm going to complete the rest of the stitches till we have 1 loop left. Okay. So once you're down to your last loop here, we're gonna finish off. So we're gonna take a little scissor here, cut about 1 inch or so. Then we're going to yarn over, putting this feeder yarn over the needle like this. You can hold it with your index and middle finger, but we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take this stitch, leapfrog it over the yarn over and off the right needle, and then we're going to pull this right needle out, pulling that tail end through that loop. You can tighten it up by just pulling on it. And there we have our first rectangle. There you go. So now we just only have to make 4 more of these. But we're gonna come back and I'm gonna do the last rectangle using the red. Alright, so now we're gonna do the last rectangle for this video. And we're going to be using the red yarn, if I can get it untangled. Okay. Ugh. All right. Alright, so let's go get the tail. This is a very long tail. So let's Alright. So I've got my long tail. Again, keep your tail down and keep your feeder yarn up so you don't confuse the two. We're just going to switch hands a couple of times, keep that 30-inch tail. And then we're going to pinch hard on this. We're going to take our middle and ring finger and just hold it apart like that. Take your 2 fingers, we're going to push it up and then twist it down to create this loop. Then with your index and your middle finger, we're going to grab this feeder yarn here and pull that through the loop. So now we have a huge knot. We just got to make it smaller. So just pull one side. It's usually the top side, but well, it is the top side. It's not the side that's the feeder yarn. So you just keep pulling that until the knot gets tighter. And once you hit a point of not being able to tighten it anymore, then just to give it a little snug fit, we're going to pull the tail out a little bit. You might feel a little give. You don't have to pull it too hard. You just want this knot to be nice and taut. Then to make a more manageable size, we're going to pull on the feeder yarn. So pull on that until the loop gets to a size where you can fit your needle. And then we're going to slip through our needle and we're good to go. So now we're going to make, we're going to slip on the required stitches. Again, you can do the 2 needle method or you can do the hand method. I like to do the needle method. Okay, tighten it up if you are using the needle method. Not too tight, just enough to make it nice and snug. I'm going to collect some of my feeder yarn here. Oh, this is going to make a knot, I just know it. I really am not a fan of... Okay. Alright, so we're going to knit our stitches onto our needle. So again, back to forward, around the right needle and down. Slip the left over the right and back down, pushing that feeder yarn through the loop. And then put your left needle through that loop and off the right needle. Okay. And this one's going to be a big one, so you could always go back to check your count. You should probably be doing that anyway. In fact, I actually stopped counting for some reason. Sometimes when I'm knitting, because it's, like I said, if you end up picking up knitting very well, you could end up doing it while watching TV because you don't really have to look. And so I guess I just got lost in thought because, you know, I don't really have to think about what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm gonna have to count this real quick. Let me just get off camera real quick and fix my life right now. Okay. Figured it out. I just untangled everything. That was just not fun. Let me just recount my stitches now, because I lost count. Alright. So once I have all my stitches onto here, we're going to move on to the next row. So you're going to want to measure out the height of your rectangular piece. Like I said in these ones, I did a lot more rows than that it called out, because I was measuring the size that it was requiring. So let's do this. And you know, actually, let me just do this in silence. All right, so I'm running out of yarn, and I think we're just there at the measurement that we need. This is how much I have left. I'm gonna hope that this lasts for the rest of the row. If it doesn't, I'm just going to undo this row, and then just fasten off with this row. So we'll see. But I at least have enough yarn here to show you how to fasten off. So to fasten off, again, we are going to knit 2 stitches, and then we're going to lift this first one, and we're going to leapfrog it over the next, off the right needle, off the left needle. Do another stitch, knit it, and you can lift this loop off the right needle, off the left needle. All right, one more time. Stick your needle into the next stitch, knit it. I don't think this is gonna make it. Leapfrog this loop over the next, pull it off the right and pull it off the left. So that's how you knit stitch. When we come back, because I'm gonna undo this, maybe I'll stop at the 3rd one, like it never happened. All right, just like it never happened. Okay, so we did the 3. I got more yarn. Let's finish the rest. So you always want to have, you always want to have 2 stitches on the right needle in order to leapfrog, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to leapfrog anything. So again, we are leapfrogging the first stitch over the second, off the right and off the left needle. Okay, so we're just going to continue this all the way down. So it's pretty straightforward until we get to the last stitch. And then after this, we can finally sew it together. It's going to be real fun. Something is funny. Okay, I think I removed the wrong one. There. We are nearing the end of my rope, my yarn. Comment below, let me know if you ran into this. Again, I feel like some of these are hit or miss. They sometimes don't pack enough material. But all right, so we did all of them, and like I said, we have the one left on the right needle. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna yarn over, so that's putting this little piece of yarn that I have here, and we're gonna put it over the needle. That's a yarn over. Then you're gonna take your left needle, we're gonna guide this into this stitch, and we're gonna leapfrog that over the yarn over. And once we get that done, then you can pull the right needle all the way out. Then pull on your excess piece here to tighten up that loop, and that'll fasten things off. So that's how you fasten off. Alright, so we're going to be doing some sewing, so I'm going to go get the plastic needle. Actually, I'm just going to empty everything out. Okay, get that all ready. Alright, so now we're going to sew this red piece together. So let's pick the good side. And what we're going to do is sew around the edges. Thread your needle up. Okay, just trying to see where it wants us to sew. Okay. Okay. And it looks like it wants you to do straight stitches, which is just going up and down on this edge and not like over the edge. I'm going to tuck this excess piece inside. When you get to this edge, it'll be a little bit easier just because you can see the stitches. All right, so we sewed around the edges that we were supposed to. Then it's asking to stitch on the label. So we've got this label here, and it has perforated holes, so you'll know exactly where to put the needle through. And we're just going to lay this on here, and you want to already center it. Use the rows to help you make the label straight. And then just use your eyes to visualize the sides here. But what we're going to do is crawl our way with our needle to the first corner of that label. Okay, and then put your hand inside the opening of this fry box so that you know not to go through the other side. Okay, and I'm just gonna do the straight stitches. It looks like too that we're gonna backtrack. I think maybe I'll just go back around rather than looping it like I normally would. That way we can focus on stabilizing the label first and then dealing with making it look nice later. Just get in the way, so if you can just peel these off. Alright, now that we're back around, we can focus on, I would just go back the other way. If it works out to where you're just doubling it up, then let's just go in the opposite direction and complete this border. So we're going to do the same thing that I did on the way here. And it makes a nice solid border. Okay, I happen to be at the last one and it's going down, which is great because we're going to stick this in here. We're going to open up the inside, and I actually have this piece of excess from when we were knitting this thing to begin with. So I'm actually going to use this to tie this down. That way I don't need to, I mean, I don't think I'm going to be using any more of this red, but that way we don't have to waste any more yarn. And I'm going to tie it maybe, well, this 3 times. 2 times is okay, but sometimes I just like wonder, so I'm just gonna do it 3 times, and then I'm just gonna leave this in here. It'll add as stuffing. In fact, I don't think we're gonna use this again, so it'll be like stuffing. Okay, so now that we have that down pat, look how cute that is. And these annoying little perforated things. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next steps. So with these fries, we're gonna have to fill these in. We've got 5 pieces here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And for video purposes, we are just going to do 1, and then I'm going to do the other 4 off camera. So we're going to fold this one in half like this. Oh, and I got to put this in here. And we have to sew 2 of the edges, and then we're going to fill, which I don't really like. We're going to have to stuff that in a narrow space. All right, so let's see. Let's grab 5 little pieces. All right, you want to make sure that it fits in here. Okay. All right. I think if you could, try doing this now, because having to stuff it down the narrow way is going to be so annoying. Tuck this excess piece in, and when you try to sew this in half, so we're going to fold it in half, try not to sew through the stuffing, try to sew around it, because your needle will pull it through to the other side, and then it's not going to look that great. So I'm going to actually, all right, try to follow as best as you can the stitching. I know on the sides it's going to be difficult, but really the main goal is to sew it, obviously, but try to avoid the fiber fill. I don't even want to attempt stuffing my fingers. I mean, I have small hands, but I don't see myself having a good time trying to fit this fiber fill in here, and I don't think you would too, so we're gonna try doing it this way. And with my finger, I'm just making sure I push down that stuffing so that my needle doesn't poke through it, because it's a real eyesore if you don't clear your stitches, your sewing stitches. It's going to pull it out. You're going to be able to see it. You pull some out, it's going to pull out more. Yeah, so but so far so cute. Comment below, let me know how it's going for you. I didn't follow my stitching. This is way off. Okay. Once you've closed all sides, you can evenly distribute the stuffing inside by just pressing on it, and then we're going to find a moment to tie our knot. Okay, then pull it all the way closed, and then what I'm going to do is put my needle just under the surface. Again, try to avoid the fiber fill if you can. But we're going to come up randomly on the other side so that we can thread this yellow in, right? And then I'm going to trim off the extra. And there we have one fry. Stick this in here for now. Right, like I said, we're going to do the 4. You can rewind this video, and I'm going to do mine off camera for video time's sake, and then we'll come back and finish up. Alright, so you just have to, after you do your fries, you have to rearrange it to make it look nice, I guess. So I'm doing just that. Oh, there's more. Oh, first we have to stuff it. So take your remaining stuffing, and this might be a lot of stuffing actually. So I don't know. Oh my gosh, I have like no more. Yeah, I do. I almost freaked myself out. You're gonna need some red yarn to sew it closed. Oh, okay, so the fries are gonna stay still. That's always good. Alright, let me see. Nah, I think I'm not gonna force it, so. Alright, and then you have to arrange the fries. I'm gonna try to put this slit in the middle here so that I can plop this in. And you want to pick the prettier sides to face out. Okay. And then we have to sew it together. So just make sure however you have it is how you want it. And we're going to figure out a way to just sew all of this together. I'd say just try to poke through everything. You know, even if it's going through fries, that'll ensure that that everything stays inside. And I'm not too sure how much red I have for this, so I'm kind of skipping some stitches to make sure at least to make it to the other end. Okay, I'm even just gonna double back anyway. either get to the other side or look like you're gonna run out of red. I'm just gonna go back here and we're gonna make our knot. Okay, and then we're going to stick the needle in one random side, go out the other random side, pull it all the way out. I didn't have much left, so I can just play with that to make sure it comes out. Oh well, it's like, you know. Oh man, whatever. Alright, so here is my small fry. So that's it, you guys. Comment below, let me know how it turned out. This is what it's supposed to look like, as if this is how this is how mine ended up. But either way, it's still cute. It's, you know, it's the hair is styled. At any rate, thank you so much, you guys, for watching. This is Hooked on Needles and Crafts. Please share, like, and subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.